Hey everybody, this is TJR. This video was inspired by a viewer comment generated by my recent 4 versions of Tommy video from regular viewer Derek Roberts, and he writes the following. I'm going to get a little controversial here, so please be gentle, okay? Derek, anybody who watches this channel knows that I am gentleness personified. How much do you think Roger Waters borrowed ideas from Tommy for his rock opera, The Wall? To me, there always seem to be some very comparable elements between the two operas. I definitely want to answer this, but first, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to see more content like this, be sure to click a like, click subscribe, and smash that bell notification icon so you never miss a video. Okay, let's discuss this. So first of all, Derek, honestly, I've always thought so too. A little fun fact, my first exposure to Tommy was actually the movie. I was in my very early formative teens, and to be honest, at that point in my life, I honestly didn't know who the Who were. I didn't know that this movie was based on an album. I walked into this movie completely cold. I walked in as a young teenager who grew up in a very sheltered, conservative, and religious upbringing, and for whom the craziest thing, the most bonkers thing I'd ever experienced on film prior to watching Tommy the movie was reruns of the 60s Batman TV show and the original adventures of Gumby. So yeah, my brain was completely fried out after seeing Tommy the movie. A decade later, as a very young adult, I would watch the motion picture adaptation of Pink Floyd's The Wall. And when I walked out of the theater in 1982, I did see some definite similarities between the two. First of all, both feature the theme of the protagonist losing their father to war. The Wall's protagonist, Pink, loses his father during World War II. Tommy, the original album, opens during World War I, but is updated to World War II in the movie soundtrack version. The primary character of Tommy allegedly loses his father to the war also, only to have him return later and then be killed after being briefly reunited. In The Wall, our main character loses his father once, but in Tommy, the protagonist loses his father twice. This causes both to suffer from mental trauma, and for both of them to retreat into mental psychosis. Tommy shuts down all of his senses and retreats into dream and fantasy, while the world continues to go on without him. In The Wall, our main character Pink shuts down in much slower and more grounded ways as neurosis and depression lead him to a psychotic break. Tommy goes into isolation instantly, while Pink descends into isolation slowly and over many years. But both allow emotional pain and trauma to push them towards isolation. In spite of his handicap, Tommy becomes a famous pinball wizard, which is an analogy for being a rock star. In The Wall, Pink becomes a real rock star. Once Tommy gains his senses back, he believes himself to be a kind of messiah and wants the world to follow him into enlightenment. At the height of his psychotic break, Pink imagines himself as a vicious, Hitler-like fascist leader who wants to control everybody's lives. And even here, I feel there is a comparison to be made, because fascist leaders, by and large, usually think that they are the Messiah to one degree or another. Lastly, both albums have vague endings that are open to interpretation. Tommy and The Wall both explore themes of isolation brought on by trauma, but Tommy explores it in a more metaphorical and more fantastical way, whereas The Wall explores it in a more grounded way, although The Wall does become more fantastical when the main character is having his psychotic break. Like I said in the beginning, I'd always seen some similarities between these two, but in preparing for this video, and the more I compared them, the more similarities I found. Do I think one rips off the other? No. Do I think that one influenced the other? Possibly. But whether or not one influenced the other, to me, there is no denying that these are two separate and individual pieces of work. These are two separate and individual artistic visions. Both are worthy of your time, and both are worthy of future discussion. They may explore similar themes, but they are completely different. I want to thank Derek for this comment. It was fun looking over all of this. And I also want to take a moment to thank my mighty patron supporters. If you'd like to be a patron supporter, please go to patreon.com/TJRTheOriginal. And if you can't be a patron supporter, please just click like and also share these videos with anyone you think might be interested in watching them. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all stay safe and healthy.